Hi and welcome back to the Well Society. I'm Sumaya. Today I'm going to show you all the books that I have recently read and the books that I'm going to bring with me for a trip. I'm going to think, when is this video going to come up? I think it's going to be like in March-ish. Okay, I can tell you. I'm gonna meet Sunny, the other host of this channel, for the very first time. We started this channel in November of 2021. Maybe, I can't remember. But we have been friends since like 2017 and we have never met. And I see my suitcase right over there and I'm so excited to actually go to Paris. And I haven't done anything fun for over 2 years, so I'm really excited to just go away, but equally excited to show you all the books that I have read and the books that I'm gonna bring with me to Paris. I'm gonna stop saying that. It seems really bad. Wait to say Paris. Okay, the first book I read this year is China Rich Girlfriend, the sequel to Crazy Rich Asians. I liked the book, but I must say I loved the first book much more. The sequel is just on a higher level of describing extravagant wealth. Extravagant. English is my third language, please stop. Don't judge, I'm gonna try. Extravagant wealth, that's how you say it. And it just got a little bit too much for me. I loved the first one more, so I think I'm just gonna stop with the series. But it was a really fun read and a really cool way to start off my reading year, must say. And I have read 20 books so far this year, and the main reason why is I read all of the a series of unfortunate events books, and I watched the Netflix adaptation of all the books, and I must say Netflix did an amazing job. I really hope to do an equally good job on the Avatar The Last Airbender series. I'm really nervous, but I'm holding up the Reptile Room because it's my favorite book in the series. It's the one where I'm like the most hopeful that the Baudelaire children are gonna have a happy life, because Uncle Monty and the, what's it called, the extremely venomous snake, I love them so much. And it's really dumb. I kept being hopeful that, oh my gosh, they're gonna go to Peru and gonna have a happy life, while Lemony Snicket is literally telling me, girl, shut the fuck up, they're not gonna have a happy life. This book does not have a happy ending. But you know, you can't help but hope. And hope is a thing with feathers, as people say. So the next book I read is actually an audiobook. It's Crying in H Mark by Michelle Zuner. I'm really sorry if I mispronounced the last name, but I adored this memoir. Memoirs are one of my favorite parts of nonfiction to read, and especially this one. It was really intimate, and it felt something like I shouldn't be reading. It felt like the book, it was more for the writer, for Michelle, rather than the actual audience reading the book. The emotions were really so raw and really beautifully depicted and written, and easily now one of my favorite memoirs I've ever read. I think the video I posted right before this video was ranking all of the memoirs I've ever read, and I really wish that I had read this book before I put out that video, so I could like put it up on my highest tier. It's so beautiful. I was gonna say magical, but it's just really sad. And I haven't really, you know, felt that kind of loss in my life, the loss of a mother figure. So it felt like, oh my god, I'm gonna feel these emotions one day, and I'm not ready to do that. Anyway, 5 stars. So good. And the next book I have read is I forgot to organize this video, sorry. Is Your Silence Will Not Protect You by Audre Lorde. I'm gonna be really fast about this because I have already made a long video on Audre specifically, and I already talked about this book in that video. But I read this book mainly for a upcoming video about poetry. I'm trying to like spice up the videos that I make for this channel, and I thought it would be cool to make the videos that I watch mainly video essays. So I have an upcoming video on the importance of poetry, and obviously Audre Lorde, a poet, a warrior, one of her, is that what she says? A poet? Anyway, so obviously I had to read this for my research. It's so good. One of my favorite sentences that I underlined is in the preface. I am not free while any woman is unfree, even if her shackles are different than my own. Tattoo that on my arm. So for the next book I read, it was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. In my head I thought it was The Seven Husbands by Evelyn Hugo. Anyway, besides the point. This is a reread. I read it mainly for comfort because January was a dark month for me, and I don't know why I picked that one specifically because it's just really sad. I have one video of me just sobbing when I read it the first time, and then I cried equally as much the second time, and I kept texting Sunny, the other host of this channel, being like, yeah, this book broke me. I don't know why I did this to myself, but you know, that's The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And I kept going on YouTube and searching for like fan edits, but I realized there's not a movie adaptation, so it's just like fan edits of like other movies where like the channel just like says, oh, this is Evelyn Hugo and this is Michelle. Anyway, I can link some of my favorites in the description if you want to cry even more. But I don't know if I even should say the summary is Hollywood icon Evelyn Hugo does an auction for all of her dresses, picks our lead Michelle Grant to interview her about the dresses, but ooh, there's actually something else going on, and it's really good. I'm really bad at giving synopsis. Anyway, everyone already knows it's like a booktube classic, but yeah, I loved it, and I kept going back since I started writing. Since the last time I filmed the video, I kept really focusing on the way Taylor Jenkins Reid really crafted the story. It's so well done, and I kept going, I could never write this good. My ego just take a beating. Anyway, it's such a good story, and I can totally understand why so many people love it. Wow, I stopped breathing there for a second. This next book is also a classic, but I think less of our audience have read it because most people who watch our videos are from the United States and England, and this is a Swedish book, but there is an English translation, so you could also pick it up. It's Mio Min Mio by Astrid Lindgren. I think the English title is Mio, My Son Mio by Astrid Lindgren, the author who created Pippi Longstrump, or how the English people say it, Pippi Longstocking. That feels really weird to me to say. And Mio Min Mio specifically is the first book I ever read. I have so much nostalgia connected to it, and once again, January was a dark month. I needed some nostalgia and like nice childhood reads to really get me through it, and I picked a good book. After reading The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and just sobbing, I needed a book that is a little bit dark, maybe, like my emotions, but also can just like make me feel a little bit better. And the story is really a straightforward fantasy fairy tale. This character doesn't know that he's a prince from a land far away, and he has to fight this knight called Kato, and the themes are really like evil versus the good and the power of friendship, you know, all that good stuff. And it just packed in a really small book. And the audiobook is narrated by Astrid Lindgren, and it's a Swedish audiobook, so I don't think you could read, listen, understand it, but it's so good. I haven't really read the English translation, so I can't really say anything, but if you have a chance to pick it up, do it. It's a classic for a reason, and I'm not gonna stop gushing about it. I don't know why I keep burping. I'm just drinking tea, damn it. So the last book that I read is really divisive. It's The Betrayal of Anne Frank by Rosamund Sullivan. I listened to the audiobook, and I really encourage you to do that. It's such a good audiobook. It's narrated by my favorite narrator. And I think I even said it on my Instagram story that it's possibly my favorite read of 2022. Strong statement, I know, to make in February, but it's such a good read, regardless of whether you agree with the conclusions that the book makes on who they think betrayed the family. I think it was really interesting to see how you would even go about to investigate it, because what they're investigating happened over 70 years ago. And also the way that the book is written is so good. Like, I think even Rosamund Sullivan has a book on Stalin's daughter, and I'm not even interested in the subject, but after reading this book, I'm really interested to see how she would write that as well. Oh my gosh, I was just so captivated by the story. I don't know if it was like the writing or specifically the narration or both together. So good. But I must say I loved learning more about Otto and learning more about Meep, because obviously, oh my gosh, I have Anne Frank's daughter, Anne Frank's diary right there, but I don't feel like getting it out. Obviously, I have read it before, we studied it in school, but it was more as a like transition to like discuss the war, and I never really learned or asked about the people who were hiding the family. I didn't even know much about Otto, and I learned so much about the diary, all the people who questioned its validity, how it even got printed, that like Meep found it, hid it to give it to Anne after the war. Like, I have cried so many tears reading the book. It's such a good book. Whether you agree with the conclusions the book makes, I think it's really interesting to just read about how they did it, you know. And now I know that I really like true crime, investigative books. I didn't know that until now. Anyway, 5 stars. So when it comes to the books that I'm gonna bring to Paris, I'm gonna bring AfroPM by Johnny Pitts. If you have been on the channel for a while, you know that I've talked about this book a lot in a lot of my TBR videos, but I haven't even read it yet. I feel so bad. But the first chapter is actually set in Paris, so it feels like a perfect read. It's in like the airport or when I'm on the train to just because I'm reading it mainly for research purposes for another writing project that's coming out soon. Soon meaning like 2 years. Anyway, so this book, I can just read what The Guardian said about it. An important, groundbreaking book because it turns our gaze towards Europe's Black communities in unprecedented ways. A work that reframes Europe. I cannot say it any better than The Guardian did. It's just a travel book where Johnny Pitts travels around Europe and sees how Black communities have connected to the country and how they have carved out a new identity for themselves. And I have never really found a book that does that, than this one, so I'm really excited to pick it up. Yeah. And I also have an audiobook, Open Water by Caleb Zuma Nelson, and I am gonna read this book because Sunny hasn't really stopped talking about it, hasn't stopped bugging me to read it. So I think it's the best time to read it while I'm there visiting her. And I don't really know much because that's really how I like to go into a lot of fiction books, other than that it's sets two characters in England and they meet in a bar and they're both artists and it's supposed to be really beautifully written. And I even think the narrator is also the author, and I love, oh, I was right. So I'm really excited to read it. The last book is actually an audiobook, and it's Childhood by Tove Ditlevsen. It's a Danish writer who has a trilogy of autobiographical and I can't speak today. I haven't filmed anything in like 3 months and I've lost the ability to film. Anyway, Childhood is the first book in the trilogy of Tove's autobiographical version of her life. Let's go with that. I don't want to make another take. And I'm reading it mainly, as I said, I want to read more books set in Scandinavia. And it's I really want to learn Danish in the future. I'm working on my Norwegian right now, and hopefully in the future I can read Childhood, the sequel Youth, and the last book Dependency, all in Danish. But let's work on our Norwegian right now. It's not going great. So yeah, that's all I have read and all I'm gonna bring with me to Paris. I cannot say Paris instead of going Paris. Anyway, I hope you liked the video and I'll see you soon. Bye.